Hello Steam Machines and welcome, this is Mr. Bear from Conducting Music, welcoming you to the creative coding part of Momocuri. If you haven't seen the videos from Miss Samson, please go back to the previous lesson and make sure you've got your story, or at least the first part of it, ready, because the topic of these lessons with me will be to transform those stories into video games, or at least the first level. I'm going to go through the content in two separate ways. First of all, it's going to be the easy part. So when you see me inside this green meow bit, that's how it's called, this little gaming device, this is the easier level. When I teach you in this mode, let's say, this is for those that have not coded before, perhaps have not seen Microsoft Arcade, but also for those that have never coded a block of code in their entire life before this. So do not worry, you do not need to know anything before you start this course. When you see the yellow part, well, we're treading on a slightly more complicated territory, but still nothing impossible. The only moment in which you need to be completely full of attention is when you will see the red one. This is when stuff gets real. So I suggest follow the red indications only if, number one, you've already followed one of our courses before, or if you've already completed the course, you're happy with your game, but now you want to go the extra mile. By the way, if you would like to complete just the easy tasks, that's absolutely fine because the green and the yellow are self-enclosed. So no worries, you can completely skip the red content at any stage if you do not feel ready for it yet. You're gonna need only a couple of things, really. Your laptop or tablet or even phone. Just be patient because obviously on a phone it's going to be much smaller, so it will take a while. Ideally an internet connection, and I do always suggest having your favorite pair of headphones with you because when we start adding the music, that's going to make a much better experience. You do not need the Meow Bit, which is a separate piece of hardware that you can purchase. You just need the browser. You don't even need an account. You can do everything anonymously, and I'll explain how to save, transfer, share, and keep working on your material. First thing we need to do is go to the website called makecode.com. I suggest using Google Chrome browser if you can, but to be honest, anything which is up to date will work, such as Firefox, Safari, or even Microsoft Edge. So feel free to use your favorite browser. If you experience any issues, please make sure that both your browser and your device are updated. Before you install any updates, please ask your parents, your teacher, or all the siblings just to make sure that everything is up and running. Once you get to this page, you'll be able, if you wish, to log in with your Microsoft account. So for all those of you on Xbox, this is the exact same thing. However, if your parents would like to use their account or perhaps their Skype account, that's absolutely possible. Same goes with any school accounts that might have already been created by your teachers. You do not need to use an account because I can show you how to save anonymously and keep track of your projects. So if you wish to stay anonymous, which is always best as your internet safety is paramount important for us, I will show you a way to operate in that way. So we've got a few different coding languages. Beautiful thing here is that they are all interchangeable, so what you learn with us on this course can be transferred to any of these other platforms, and obviously also back to Scratch, and I think also future platforms that will be invented after the shooting of this video. So the microbit, if you're in secondary school, you might have already seen it. It's a card jam-packed with sensors and fabulous coding opportunities. Whilst the circuit playground is great for e-wearables, so interactive garments such as ties, dresses, hats, or whatever you can think of. I'm sure you already know what Minecraft is. This creates mods or patches for your computer version of the game. You code it here, update it through a plugin, and run the game according to the new rules you've created. The Mindstorm here, it's for the Legos that move. Q is a lovely robot, whilst Chibi Chip is this great PCB or printed circuit board which can be used to attach sensors, create fabulous coding experiences. But the main character for today is the Microsoft Arcade. As you can see, it reminds something like an old Game Boy. And that's absolutely brilliant. You do not need anything else to make this project work. As you click on it, it will show up with a home page. Lots of lovely tutorials are available, so I suggest, if you have the time, please go through those. They are brilliant. That's what I used to learn myself the first time I was on this platform. And it will be a great help to make your game better. It will give you new ideas. So if you do have the time, I suggest go through them. They're free, why not? If it's the first time you work with us, you just click on this orange button to have the new project. If not, you will see an array of different tiles here with your previously worked project. You can also import something, and this is from the computer in case you've got something saved. And otherwise, let's go to create a new project. When it comes to titling the code, don't be too creative here. Try to write something memorable, even boring. But it's very important because once you start having many pieces of code, you need to figure out where everything is. So for this one, I'm gonna call it Momocuri, which is the name of our project, level 1. Easy lesson. As you enter it will take a few moments depending on the speed of your computer and the internet to create the platform. Here we have a fabulous emulator, and these controls are quite self-explanatory. You can run the patch, refresh it, slow it down in case your computer is struggling. Unlikely, guys, this runs pretty much on everything. You can mute it. This is very useful sometimes when we're testing. Check which keys you can use for controlling this, and this is obviously for those of you on laptops and desktops computers. If you are on an iPad, all you have to do is use your fingers. You can take a snapshot of your fabulous games and share it, and you can go full screen to have a wider screen experience. In the middle here we have the menu where all the families of code exist, and they will become very, very familiar, pretty much a piece of cake within a few minutes. And as you click on advanced, we'll have access to a lot of extra things, especially the lovely extensions. The beautiful thing of using a browser-based software is that new things appear all the time, so please keep an eye out for those. Keep going back to it, and sometimes new extensions make your life much, much easier. I'll tell you more as we go through these lessons. This is where the code lives. You will see these different types of blocks. If you've used Scratch before, it'll be very, very familiar with you. Otherwise, it's pretty much like a puzzle. Each colored family has a specific set of tasks, and you can use it. Then you can slot them in, not always. So some pieces might not be compatible with others, and it will be obvious according to the shape, according to the color. I think it's a fabulous system. If you need to change the language, because maybe your computer is set to a different one, you can click on the gearbox and click on language here. Also go on high contrast in case you need different visual effects. And also you can play around with the green screen if you like. Guys, I think it's the moment to start the first part. I hope you managed to get onto the platform by now, and don't worry, because obviously this is a video, so you can pause it, and if you hover on the bottom right of your screen you can change the speed. So for example, if you've already followed some of our courses and maybe you're a little bit bored because you already know these concepts, instead of skipping, may I suggest that you change the speed to 2. If instead you've got a little bit of struggles and you want to slow it down, do the other way around. Set it to 0.75, pause it, rewind it, it's yours. These videos are here for you to learn. So the first part, the first things that we want to set on this game are the tile map, the character, and a little bit of camera movement. So just in case you didn't know, what's a tile map? Well, I'm sure you know what's a tile. I'm prepared to bet that in your house bathroom or in your school's bathroom, the pavement, the floor, is made of tiles, perhaps even the walls. Well, most of the 2D video games, they're made absolutely of the same material, digital, of course. There are some little pictures that get put one after the other much in the way of a mosaic and then create the background. The sprite, in other words, the character, can be moved by us with the computer keyboards or with the finger if you're on an iPad. Finally, the camera movement are really important because they can follow your character across a very large level, not just limited by the size of the screen of your gaming device. So remember, I'm in the green microbit. It's not gonna be the challenging part. This gives nothing for granted. If it's the first time you're coding, this is where you should be. So, as I mentioned, we're gonna start by setting up a scene. Well, look at that. Next to this tree icon, you click on scene, it will open up a sub-menu, and you can grab this one here. It says set tilemap to. You grab it, and if you drop it anywhere in the middle of the screen, you see that it's all grayed out and unhappy. Well, it's been disabled, it's not gonna work. But if you check the shape, ooh, that looks like it's gonna go into there. Perfect. Now, if I click on this gray box, it will open up my tilemap. And I'm greeted with this checkered environment. Don't worry, this is absolutely fine. It's showing you that it is currently empty. So take a look at the bottom left down here. It says 16 by 16. It's the size of the tiles, 16 horizontally and 16 vertically. I'm gonna be a bit more adventurous and set it to 40 by 40. In case you're curious, this is not the number of pixels, this is the number of tiles. Each tiles is 16 pixels. And it's down to you, just do 40 by 16. You get the actual number of pixels that your level, or at least your tile map, will be wide and high. There are a series of pre-made tiles here. I'm gonna stick to the forest, which is the first one, but if you like, just use the drop-down menu and choose from the others, like a dungeon, the aquatic, and so forth. There is also a way to create your own tiles, but that will be covered in the more advanced version of the course. So first things first, I would like to lay down a few pathways for our character. And to do so, I'm gonna make paths which are 2 tiles wide. I suggest one way. You can paint it in your own way if you like, but this is my favorite. First of all, I click on the line tool. Then I pick the normal one. You see this kind of dirt sort of place? And I'm gonna go through, create one line, maybe a little bit diagonal. Then I'm gonna start it again next to it and follow the same path. So you see that now I've got a 2 tile wide path. I'm gonna go the same way across and then across. It doesn't need to have too much sense now, because we want our adventurer to be able to explore. And also, if there are a few different shapes here and there, not to worry, it's absolutely fine. I think the more irregular this thing is, the more realistic it will look. So please go ahead. I'm gonna speed through this and I'm gonna get right back. So lay down some paths, irregular, 2 tiles wide. I'm gonna keep mine quite bare because of speed really, but if you'd like to spend more time in decorating it, that's absolutely fine. What I'd like you to do now is to basically fill up the rest. And in order to fill the empty parts, all you have to do really is click on one of the favorite grass tiles that you got here. I'm just gonna get the first one. Then use the bucket. You see here on the left hand side, the bucket fills in everything within a limit. So I can just click through and this is it. You see this one have not been colored through just because it's an enclosed space. So if I want this layer to be colored in, I need to click on that. Click again. Click again. Now for those of you who are a bit more experienced, you might have wondered, why am I not setting any walls on here? Well, that's because we want our character to roam free through the level. So that's absolutely fine by me if you want to set up the walls, but just make sure that the topic of this first level is to go around, explore and gather supplies. So it's probably best not to put too many walls. If you like though to design some rocks and create some unclimbable regions, that's absolutely fine. Once you've got this, before you go and make it more beautiful, I would like to go and create some more coding. Now that we've got our tile map semi-completed, a sketch of it will show up here and also here at the beginning. So So first things I would like to do is create a character. You remember at the beginning I mentioned that a character is called a sprite. So I can click on sprite and get the first block, and as always, set it up inside the star block. Please make sure that you place it after the tile map, because coding works vertically. So first we need to create a tile map, then we need to create the character. You can call him or her whatever you like. I'm just gonna call this particular character UK. And select a character from the gallery. You can obviously paint his or her looks however you like. However, for the easy version of this course, I just suggest go to gallery and choose any of these. I think, I want to be a little bit different. What is this monk going to look like today? Maybe this little guy here. Can I see him frontal? There we go. Here you go. Okay. It's going to be just one image. As we go along with the code, it will be a bit more animated. So it should appear somewhere in the middle of your screen. If it's grayed out like this, wait a second, and here we go. And we cannot move it. I'm trying, but nothing is happening. So the next block you need to do is to put down a controller. So please go to controller. And the first one here, you see how easy it is? Just you're gonna check it in. However, it's complaining. It will in a moment. And the reason is because we set a character called UK, but we're asking to move this my sprite, and the computer is saying, wait a minute, what is this my sprite? It doesn't exist. You're right. Click on the drop-down menu, change it. Here you go. It's absolutely fine. Now, as you wait through, you can also go full screen if you like. You can move, and here it is. But we've got a new problem. Look at that, it's disappearing. I cannot follow the little guy anymore. Oh my goodness, look at that, it's not happening. Okay, so how do we do this? Well, it's the last piece of code that I promised we'll use, the camera. So when you're not sure where to find a piece of code, well, you've got a few different ways. Number one, it's the silly one, go through every single one of them. Well, it gets a little bit tedious after a while, especially when we use extensions, you're gonna start having quite a lot of stuff. However, just check the color. Look at this teal color of the tile map. Well, it's the same as scene. This blue stuff of sprite is the same of sprite up here. And this, shall I call it dark orange or brown, is the same as the controller. However, if you don't want to follow the colors for any reason, you can always search for something. So what are we trying to set up? A camera. All right, no worries. Camera it is. Press enter. And camera shake? No, not really. Camera follow. So here you go. I'm sure you can already anticipate a little problem that is happening here. And it's complaining because it's following a sprite that does not exist. So match it to UK. Also, I noticed that because the grass is green and the guy has also got a green shirt, that doesn't quite work, does it? So I'm gonna give him a red shirt. Let's see if that's a bit more contrast. Red and purple, perhaps. Yeah, with some... there we go. I think that's gonna be a bit better. And now, if I go full screen and use the arrows, you see that the camera moves with me and I can go through. I hope you enjoyed this first part of the lesson, guys. We have set up a tile map, in other words, a background build of tiles. I've laid it quite bare, quite simple, but if you want to spend some time to make it more beautiful, please do go ahead and use as many different tiles as you like. A little challenge perhaps is just check if you can figure out how to make your own tiles. If not, don't worry, I'm going to explain this later on. We've also set up a character. I've used one from the gallery for timing constraints, but you can paint the looks of your favorite character. You can use one from another project, or you can use from our assets, not to worry. Then we made the character move with a very simple block. And finally, we asked the camera to follow the character. Next, we're gonna create the collectibles. What are these? Well, if you remember on Miss Sampson's story, the priest, UK, needs to go around and collect certain herbs to create potions, achieve powers, and pretty much whatever you like, because it's your story. So we're gonna create a few different collectibles. We're gonna create a point system, and this point system, at a certain point, will unlock a secret door.